So a couple of years back, I was coaching at Arizona State, and we were trying to figure out what the most effective serve speed was for our float servers and who was the most effective servers. And so we were using radar guns in practice, and we were measuring serve speeds, and we were recording it and tracking it and just trying to determine what's the range, what's the optimal range. And while it was different for each athlete, the general range was 38 miles per hour to say 41 miles per hour, at tops 42. What are you guys seeing in the service game, and how are you getting your athletes dialed in to the optimal speed or the optimal serve?
Yeah, this was actually one of the first ways I started with USA when I was volunteering last quad for the last Olympics. We were charting all this data, looking at all this, hey, for each individual server, when they serve at this speed and this speed and this speed, what's the passing efficiency by the other passers, and how often do they serve in and all that. And pretty similar to what you just said, 38 to 42 is a nice range for a lot of servers. It seems like there's a little bit of a correlation to height. Like if you're a tall server, 6'4", 6'5" on a women's net, maybe you can start getting up into that 42 range. It seems like it's hard to keep it in, keep a float serve in really above 42 consistently. That seems to be maybe this little bit of an upper bound, that if you're hitting the ball 43, 44, 45 miles an hour, it's tough to keep it in consistently. And if you're serving below 36, like if you're serving 33, 34, 35, it just seems like even if you hit a good floater, it's just too slow and the passers can just manhandle it to target. So that range that you just mentioned, 38 to 42 is a good range. And maybe it's a little bit correlated to, well, not just height, but how high off the ground the attacker is. You know, I mean the server, if they're getting their toss up there and they're jumping pretty well and hitting at a high point, they can hit it a little, I mean, it just makes sense, physics. They can hit it a little harder, keep it in. For us, honestly, right now, we are not focusing on the speed as much. The number one thing for us is the contact and the float contact. And then kind of in conjunction with that is how flat the serve is. We really like that ball crossing the net, low over the net. You know, for us it used to be, hey, no, the top of the antenna, you know, lower than the top of the antenna. But we actually are even trying, you know, we got some pretty good servers, so we're trying to even lower that more. You know, we put the elastic across there, and a lot of times, you know, like halfway across the antenna even, and we're trying to just shoot it right under there. And what I think that almost does is it kind of self-regulates the speed, because if you're hitting it low, then and you hit it a good floater, then it's just a matter of we really like serves that either go in front or behind the passer. So if you hit it low over the net and you hit it in the back 5 feet of the court, that's probably as hard as you can. I don't know how you couldn't hit it any harder, or else it's going to go out. So that's kind of the self-regulating, where we're not worried so much about speed. We really like the servers looking at the trajectory and the space that they're trying to serve into. That was something that actually Matt Furbringer on your staff, men's staff, actually talked to us a little bit about. He was just saying some things that he thinks about when he was serving, and so many servers, they look at the passer and then they serve at the passer. And sometimes we almost train our players to do that. So that was a big point of emphasis for us, is mentally working with different servers who have that tendency to say, okay, look into the space and serve at that space. I know that's like a little tangent from what you were asking about, but that ends up kind of self-regulating the speed. And then also, you know, serves that move the passer forward, and really, especially serves that get the passer on the ground, are really efficient. You know, passers do not pass well once one knee goes to a ground or they have to dive or anything. I mean, that's common sense, but statistics backs it up. So you can't serve 40 and have a shorter serve. So that we're not even worried about the speed on that. So we've actually gone away a little bit from the speed for float servers and just saying, we want this good contact. That's the most important, that this ball is floating. And then we want to go in low over the net. And then it's either going past the passer or in front of the passer. I bet there's some Big Ten teams